The DigiPodcast, Digital Trends in Supply Chain Management.
Hello and welcome to our DigiPodcast. I'm Thomas Holzner from the Siemens SCM Digi Network with the DigiPodcast, a podcast on digital and innovative topics for procurement in the future. Digitalization is becoming increasingly important for every company. At Siemens in particular, digitalization is a fundamental element for success. Today I have Dietmar Hartefeld, our Siemens Head of Supply Chain Management of the United Kingdom, as my guest. His team is known within Siemens as one of the frontrunners regarding sustainability, and they do a lot to further develop this approach. So, hello Dietmar, thank you that you took the time.
Thomas, thank you. You're more than welcome, and thank you to anybody that's listening.
Dietmar, let's start immediately with a challenge. Can you tell us in 20 seconds, and I know that's hard for you, on what Siemens SCM UK is working on?
Probably the primary activity we're working on is how do we move from a one-on-one relationship with our supply base to an ecosystem approach with sustainability at the heart of that ecosystem, with one thing that we all are reminding ourselves that we should do, and that is listen.
That was fast, and I tried to listen. And what I heard, sustainability is one of your major topics. So why do you focus on that?
Sustainability is more than a world and other people's responsibility. It's our individual responsibility, it's our company responsibility, and fortunately, working within the supply chain, we have a huge opportunity to leverage our supply chain partners to help solve some of the biggest challenges. And for us within Siemens and the supply chain, we have that opportunity to create a difference.
So what are some of the biggest challenges?
Wow. In a nutshell, decarbonisation. Everybody talks about it. It is real. And from a supply chain perspective, when you start to look at where the biggest proportion of all our emissions are, 90% sit in the supply chain. So by definition, we have a huge challenge, but what a huge opportunity. Linked to that, we have how do we help create better social value? How do we use circularity in the supply chain? And how do we better leverage equity, diversity and inclusion to help us in our collective ambitions to drive change?
That's something I really like with Dietmar. He's not very focused on one single point, because most people, what I learned is sustainability equals product carbon footprint. And I think what I learn also, I know him now for nearly 20 years, for example, the diversity of his teams. There are always a lot of good talents coming from the UK. And I think I know one of the reasons why he is always one step ahead, because you're a pioneer. And regarding pioneering, you implemented our mindset, digital mindset, at one of the first. So this means growth mindset with you is something normal. Can you explore a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, just imagine a world where everybody has a fixed mindset. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. We just do as we do today. So is that what people want? The majority of people don't. They want to be open and in a growth mindset. However, it's far more difficult than saying the words. And it takes a lot of conviction to allow people to move from today's what I call busyness mode, where interruptions happen every hour that stop you from focusing. But if you can start to go through a process of change and move into more of a growth mindset, you can focus. So you can move from busyness and being driven by other people to focus on the things that make a difference for you, the company and society.
I think that sounds quite logical, but did you see some hurdles, and how did you overcome the hurdles?
Of course there's hurdles, Thomas, as you know, there's so many hurdles. I think the biggest challenge is to fight the preconception that people expect you to do something in a certain way or in a certain time. And actually, an open challenge of what that really means. So rather than just accept when somebody says, oh, could you do this? Explore why they want it done, particularly if you're not convinced that it makes a difference. That's also very easy to say, but we know that requires a lot of personal self-integrity, trust, and confidence to do that. So one of the biggest hurdles is creating an environment where people feel they can openly challenge and that they can suggest what they're going to work on.
And I think you're managing this very successful. So from the other point of view, you're managing this all very successful. And now I think the listeners are also keen. What does a frontrunner plan for the future? So could you share some secrets, what you're planning to do in the future?
I'd love to. I think I would link, first of all, let me link the fact that growth mindset is something that you have to continually work on. So growth mindset becomes one of the pillars. That you've got sustainability is here to stay, and we have to work at making a difference quicker. Just imagine every 6 weeks, 1% of our time has gone in achieving Siemens' ambition for net zero. 1% every 6 weeks. So we need an urgency which requires focus. So what are we doing? We're actively driving, I think, a lot of people that will see what we're working on. We're driving our purchasing power to create good for society. That's one. But more importantly, we are opening up a project. It's open actually, and it's active, where we are leveraging our ecosystem approach. We're working with 3 supply partners, and we're going to focus on the movement of our commercial vehicles, our company vehicles, our rental vehicles, and the carbon footprint associated with those. And that will become a model that our supply chain can use and a model that Siemens can use. So we're going to take growth mindset, we're going to take sustainability in scope 3, and we're going to take the ecosystem and make it work.
Curious about the outcome, and hopefully we can share this sooner or later. So Dietmar, thanks for your insights. And now to my last but not least and my favorite question, who is Dietmar?
Never judge a book by its cover is the first thing I'd say. So people that might look at me and go, and listen to me, he's an English guy. Of course I'm an English guy, but I'm an English guy that had a German mother by birth, a Latvian father, by adoption, a Welsh father, whose grandfather was Dutch. So don't judge a book by its cover is what I would say.
That's an interesting statement. I think I would like to add something. You're always a front runner, a pioneer, and you're curious. And I think you're a people's person. Maybe you can share one of your favorite hobbies.
Of course. I have, besides building relationships and trusting other people, football is a huge pastime of mine. I don't play anymore, but I enjoy watching my football team. And I'm so lucky because my wife, Janet, also joins me watching football. And we meet up with my brother and some of his family when we play football, when we go to watch football. So Thomas, I may not be a Bayern fan, but I am a Leicester fan, but I respect most teams that play good football.
And this I know because when we met in Feldafing, we talked about the championship of Leicester, because I was always surprised you live nearby Manchester, but you're a Leicester fan. So Dietmar, thanks a lot for your insights and also to your personal openness. Thank you very much. And to all our listeners, I hope you enjoyed this very interesting episode via the United Kingdom. And if you have questions, contact Dietmar via LinkedIn. He's a great communicator. Or if you want to find out more information about the SCM Digi network, reach out to the internet page. So I'm looking forward having you as a listener at our next episode. Yours, Thomas Holzner from the Siemens SCM Digi network.
The DigiPodcast, Digital Trends in Supply Chain Management.